If you ever work a night shift alone, never look at the digital inventory logs. It was 3 a.m. at a fulfillment center. Just me and miles of steel shelves. The place was dead quiet, save for the dull hum of the freezer units. My radio was completely dead, but I wasn't really worried. That is, until my scanner beeped. An item had just been logged in aisle 12, but I was entirely alone, and the only person with a scanner on the clock. I refreshed the system, hoping it was a glitch, then it beeped again. Aisle 11. My stomach completely dropped. Whatever was scanning those items wasn't just wandering around. It was moving intentionally.
It was coming closer to me, one aisle at a time, like it was speed-walking to catch up. I panicked, bolted toward the front security office, and prayed the doors were open. I reached the glass door, but right as I grabbed the handle, my screen lit up one last time. It said, Aisle 1, item scanned, behind you.
My heart hammered against my ribs so hard it was sickening. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. The air behind me suddenly felt ice cold, smelling faintly of damp earth and old rust. In the reflection of the door, I saw it. A figure, easily 7 feet tall, dressed in a tattered dark jumpsuit. Its arms hung completely lifeless at its side. And then I realized what the sound was. It wasn't footsteps. It was the rhythmic metallic clink of a heavy tool scraping the concrete floor. In its left hand, it wasn't just holding a scanner. It had a massive iron crowbar.
I threw my weight against the security door, rattling the frame, but it was deadbolted from the inside. I heard a wet, raspy breath draw in. The entity was moving again. My scanner screen glitched violently, flashing a blinding white before a message override popped up. It wasn't an automated log this time. Someone or something was typing to me. It just said, "Run." I didn't think twice. I dove to the floor just as the iron crowbar smashed into the glass door right where my head had been. Shards rained down on me as I scrambled back into the dark aisles. I knew the layout better than anyone, but the warehouse felt different now. Vast, alien, and predatory. Every corner I turned felt like a dead end, and every few seconds beep, it was tracking me through the inventory grid. I hid behind a pallet of freight, trying to smother the sound of my gasping breath. I held down the power button on my scanner, but the screen wouldn't die. It just updated. Item scanned, aisle 5. It was 1 aisle away. The scraping sound stopped right at the entrance of my aisle. I peered through a gap in the boxes. The boots were massive, caked in dried mud and something dark. The heavy iron bar began dragging along the metal shelving, screeching into the dark. Then, to its selectalizer, a pale hollow eyes locked directly onto mine. It knew exactly where I was. My legs went numb. As the silhouette took a long, slow step toward me, raising the iron bar, I looked down at the scanner on the floor. The final notification box was blinking on the screen. It didn't say an aisle number this time. The screen just filled with the words, "Inventory complete. You belong to the shift." And if you're listening to this right now, check your screen.
You'd think that's where the story ends. That the screen goes dark, the metal falls, and the night shift claims another soul. Honestly, I wish it had ended right there. The boring on the wall read Friedrich Feuer. It had all been a dream. A terrifying, vivid nightmare brought on by exhaustion. The relief that washed over with the human mind does tushvins über bastel glad were too long. The grind now jackens would handle Kate. Like growers run did left a lot of furries. But as I walked toward the front exit, I noticed something on the main shipping line. A single package. The warehouse system completely shuts down processing at midnight, meaning the line should have been entirely empty. But there it was. I walked over, my stomach knotting up all over again. I looked down at the shipping label, Masappinglektal. The destination wasn't a house or a business. Suddenly felt distant, like a fake backdrop. The warehouse grew freezing cold again, the air filling with that exact same smell of rust and damp earth. And then, the overhead PA system clicked on. Through the static of the speakers, I didn't hear a voice. I heard the unmistakable high-pitched screech of an iron crowbar dragging along a concrete floor. It was playing on a loop, broadcasting through the entire facility. Suddenly, every computer screen along the shipping lanes flashed to life. They weren't displaying the morning schedule. They were cycling through inventory logs, thousands of items being registered at a speed that was humanly impossible. The system was logging everything in the building. It was mapping out the grid, working its way from the back docks directly toward the front exit. It was a digital dragnet, and I was pinned against the door. That's when I heard a heavy impact from above. Something massive had just dropped into the main distribution chute. It wasn't a box. It was sliding down the metal track, heavy and deliberate. From the mouth of the steel chute, the tattered dark jumpsuit spilled out onto the sorting table. The 7-foot silhouette stood up, its head still broken at that horrific. I reached into my pocket, my heart stopping. I had left my scanner on the security desk, but my phone was vibrating so hard it was burning through my jeans. I pulled it out. The screen was entirely pale blue. The entity raised the crowbar, letting it strike the steel side rails of the conveyor belt as it walked toward me. Screech clank, screech clank. It didn't need to hurry. It knew the doors wouldn't open. That's woken ultimate nightmare philization hit me. The entity hadn't broken into my world. I had been dragged entirely into its world the moment I looked at that first log. It raised the device. The red laser line climbed up my chest, painting a blinding dot right between my eyes. The PA system gave one final deafening tone. The system log updated on every screen in the building. It read, "Shift permanent, user deleted." So if you're working late and your device logs an entry you didn't scan, don't look back. It's already printing your label.